Hello once again, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Why, hello there.
That's a hell of a sinkhole.
That's a big, big sinkhole. I would hate to be there when that happened.
Can you imagine that? I mean, if you're just, parking your car and then whoosh, it all just drops on down. This is massive. And this is in Naples. Huge. And this is huge. Sinkhole opens up in Naples hospital parking lot, consuming several cars in Italy. Guys, look at that. This thing is just gigantic. Gotta wonder what's going on with the Earth.
Yeah, why does she just collapse like that in such huge, huge ways?
Well, before we get deeper with this, I just want to recommend you guys go check out our friend David, Adapt 2030. He did a very, very good video about a week ago on Mudflood.
Yep.
And he's, it's interesting because he's been talking a lot of astrology and astronomy as well. And there's going to be an alignment of the 4 gas giants that comes by in 2024. And he's wondering if that could cause a mud flood in that time period. Look at what we're seeing, going on in the world. He brings up the fact that mud volcanoes could be coming online, and the fact, as we have talked about before, that scientists say there's 2 to 3 times the water locked up in the crust that's actually compared to what's in the oceans. So what we have in the oceans is just, like a third or a quarter of all the water that's in the crust and above. So what if at some periodic events with gravitational forces, it squeezes that water up to the surface?
Right. I mean, to me, when I think about it, it just kind of makes sense that these things eventually are going to come to pass. And boy, those planetary alignments, they can be powerful.
Yeah, they can. Again, everything is related to everything else. It's all interconnected. And, so this opened up early Friday morning, and this is in a car park of Naples del Mare Hospital in Italy. Believe it or not, nobody was hurt, but the hole swallowed several parked cars. According to the local hospital district, the hole is about 66 feet deep. That's pretty deep. And it spreads out over 2,000 square meters. This is big. This is gigantic. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. There's video for you guys to take a look at. It seriously does get me thinking about all the Earth changes to come. So, I asked Cindy to check with the guides about, the possibility of a mud flood in 2024.
Oh, yeah, that's when the possibilities go way up, way, way up. With on Earth's on her own, without any technology and stuff like that. That's when they start to rise.
But see, the thing is, that's the other thing we've gotten is there's an awful lot of technologies that are triggering things ahead of the natural schedule or progression.
Yeah, which is going to have its own consequences. So.
And you had mentioned this.
Right. I was just really feeling like this is going to change the whole Earth's vibration completely.
Yeah, this eclipse is key. Of course, we already had half of the X marks the spot eclipse back in August of 2017. And, many people believe that the 2 eclipses are signifying, the period of severe tribulation, to say the least. And then others think it started with the Revelation 12 alignment, which was in September. So, just really only a few weeks later than the first of these eclipses. And interestingly enough, they cross right over the New Madrid. So curious. But you feel that this might be the trigger where some of the bigger Earth changes start to really roll out at that point in time.
Right, one of the last key events, because I see these things all as like little keys to unlock certain vibrations for things to happen. But in order for a lot to happen, we have to have all of the keys triggered, and I feel this is the last one.
And you know what? There was a tornado in Texas City. Now, this is by Galveston, It's displaced hundreds of families. It was an EF1 tornado that swept through Texas City at 1813 Central Time on the 6th. And residents described the storm as quick and horrifying. There's video for you guys to check out. One guy said that he opened the door and felt like he was going to get sucked right out.
That was terrifying. That must be horrible.
Yeah, and there's things that are rare are not rare anymore. So it's a real changing globe that we have going on. And if you do check out David's really good video on the mud flood, there's overwhelming evidence that these things happen way more than what we think, way more often. Like, perhaps back in the 1800s, we had a major mud flood event that happened, and somehow it's wiped out of the history books.
Yes, ever so conveniently just vanished.
Well, it makes me think about Iraq and Afghanistan, and the wars that are over there, because a lot of our family members and friends have served over there, and then talk about, besides doing what they went there to do, also doing other things such as eliminating some relics, eliminating some of our history purposefully to keep things covered up. Powerful blizzard affecting areas along the Sea of Japan. So they're urging residents to remain cautious. Over 210 flights have been canceled, 240 train services in Hokkaido alone. In northern Japan there, about 90 vehicles were temporarily stranded due to heavy snow. So we're seeing the storms get more and more intense. And this is, what we've been talking about with 10% or so of the people in the U.S. planning on moving this year to a better area for them. For many reasons, economic, geopolitical, earth change, I'm sure has some effect on some people as well. Preparing for these times, perhaps getting away from certain frequencies. There is no perfect place. And, it's almost like a pick your poison. You got to really listen to the voice within. We ourselves, have been talking about all these different areas, and it's like, okay, well, how about the Ozarks? Well, we were in the Appalachians, Four Corners, there is no perfect place. That's the bottom line. So it's going to be a matter of what feels right for each person. And of course, a lot of people are just staying where they are, and they're just going to stay put and ride out whatever comes their way. We know we have a lot of family members still in Florida that are just gonna, they like it. They're not going. They're just staying there. That's everybody's got to make their own decision. But this is what we see, in some of the areas where maybe you have a better, easier time growing food. Well, now there's getting to be a lot of flooding. And what if there is another mud flood event? What about then? Then it might be better to be more in the desert. But then there's the drought ongoing, and then there's the wildfires. Whatever is really going on there as well, it just seems like we are getting it from every single angle.
Yeah, if you do sit and think about it, it's almost like, like Mike said, every single angle. So there is no perfect place, and you just have to do what's best for you.
I've done videos in the past, basically using the analogy that we are in a fishbowl, or we are ants in an alien ant farm, so to speak. Sometimes it feels like we're almost like rats in a maze, and they're poking and prodding, maybe starting a fire over here to see which way we're going to go running, and then flooding a part of the maze over there to see which way they're going to go, taking away the food from one area, maybe setting food in another area, but there's dangers over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do feel we're toyed with for sure.
That feels like a pretty powerful analogy.
Yeah, it is.
So we see Merapi volcano eruption prompts evacuation of more than 500 people in Indonesia. And Soufriere is smoking as well, as we've been talking about that. Now, that was interesting because there was reports coming out that people were evacuated over here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we reported on it because other people were reporting on it too. It was official news sources. And then it came out that there weren't evacuations. So that was confusing. And you got to wonder, we have to question everything now. everything. I don't think there's anything that should go by without questioning.
Most definitely not. You know, we really have to look at our sources and then even question those that we think we trust.
But we do see magma coming out over here as well. There's more activity is expected, for sure. 6.3 over in the Kermadec Islands, and we have a 6.1 over in Vanuatu as well. So we've had quite a bit of activity in the 6 range recently. And, you know, one of the other things that's going up with this cold weather is the cost of natural gas. So those prices are soaring. And this really sucks for everybody when you think about it. So many commodities are going to be going through the roof, right? And this is at a time when food prices will be rising. We know that, and food shortages are coming. That's a given. And, you know, I think at some point maybe we're not going to be able to talk about that as well. I'm sensing that because I was just looking at our friend David's numbers, and it looked like the last 3 videos got cut in half from what he normally gets. And they were all about the coming food issues that are coming, and also the financial reset that's coming. But people are going to be pinched. Do we want to stay warm, or do we want to be hungry?
Mm-hmm. I know. Choose your poison.
It's definitely a sad situation that we're seeing. But there is hope. We see an angel hovering over a burning home, and this is in Poland. Look at that. Isn't that pretty wild? Now people say, it's just ice crystals. It's nothing. It's a pretty cool depiction of what we would think an angel might appear to be.
Yeah, no, this one is real. This one took on form because it does want to give people hope and love. I feel it. It just took the elementals and it made something that humans would look to for hope and trust and love and all these nice things.
Yep. And angels are part of the Devic realm. And so when we say the Devic realm, this is the realm that includes all sorts of elemental beings constructed in some cases of a single element, like air, for instance, or water. And all of our mythologies really have a basis in fact and reality. And up at the top of the Devic realm are angels and beings that we call the Devas in the Vedic line of thinking, or the gods, quote unquote, plural, which are not source. You know, source is source. Yet source is within every single one of us. So, as always, there is hope out there.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Don't be afraid to call on the help.
That's the key. You have to ask in order to receive. You have to ask. So, you know, put your intentions out there, and we'll put our intentions out there for the healing of the planet and the lifting of the dark veil of energy that has been enshrouding this planet and this reality. Thank you so much for being part of the family. Make sure you are subscribed. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Anybody that needs to set up an appointment, reach out to us at EEARTS@protonmail.com or evolutionaryenergyarts@gmail.com. God bless, guys, and namaste.
Namaste.